Alert: the US CDC giving itself unconditional powers to round up and detain citizens. Detain citizens en masse anytime, anywhere, and even throw away the key. CDC detention. The US Centers for Disease Control and Prevention literally has overstepped its authority in proposing to grant itself powers that obviously negate any rights US citizens thought they had by issuing the proposed rule, quote, control of communicable diseases, end quote, on August 15, 2016, wherein the CDC will self-invest itself with the power to apprehend healthy people en masse and detain them indefinitely with no process of appeal. That mammoth proposed rule is published in the Federal Register number 2016-18103 online in this website. I'll leave a link below for you for the article site. Before you read it, I suggest taking a very stiff shot of vodka or scotch, because you won't believe what you read that is being proposed for what is supposed to be a non-communist country and its people, the USA. But the CDC wants to hear your comments about the proposed rule, as if it really cares. Citizens should file your comments at this website before October 14, 2016. Officially, it's comment number CDC 2016-0068-0001. This proposed CDC rule, in my opinion, is an end rule on a Hail Mary pass around what's become a nightmare situation in the USA regarding Big Pharma's sacred cows, vaccines and vaccinations, which many more healthcare consumers are waking up to being what they actually are: neurotoxic injections damaging children, adults, and even pets. In essence, the CDC is creating a police healthcare state, something that was tried in the 1980s when Representative Claude Pepper introduced 3 infamous bills that got me involved in organizing the country to defeat them, which we did, only now to be facing another round of excessive medical and federal agency overreach, in my opinion. What the CDC proposes defies the US Constitution and states constitutional rights with absolutely no appeal process. Where is the US Congress, who has oversight of the CDC? However, what should we expect from a do-nothing Congress? Why doesn't Congress investigate the CDC whistleblower William Thompson, PhD epidemiologist, confession of fraud, deceit, and collusion he participated in? Good question. Dr. William Thompson was the person that was a whistleblower concerning vaccines causing autism. So if this oppressive, totalitarian-like proposal rule giving the CDC powers, the police powers, becomes law, kiss your kids goodbye. Kiss what you thought you had in life goodbye, your body, which will not belong to you any longer, but to the USA via CDC's edict, and expect to be interred in US FEMA camps, something the shadow government and others apparently have been planning for some time. Just the other day, I got notice of FEMA putting out a purchase order requesting for 5 million bottles of litter and half liter size of bottled water. And what are they expecting? What have all the United Nations vehicles moving around the US been about? How about all the UN mercenary-like troops holed up in the USA? Are the US military and National Guard not sufficient, or won't they do to American citizens what the controllers want them to do to us? Has the USA relinquished its sovereignty to the United Nations without our knowledge? This proposed rule by the CDC is the icing on the cake. They apparently have planned, in my opinion, from all the political correctness memes they have generated along with all the false flag pandemics, they really never planned out. They never really panned out except the apparent current one, the Zika virus, which may become successful because of the fear-mongering built into it, including poison aerial sprays. Now, in my opinion, and from what I've researched, they've been able to genetically monkey around with both mosquitoes and the virus to make the perfect storm health crisis and the need for a medical police state, all creating on purpose, since many of the communicable diseases they are so damn scared of have been around for ages and the human race survived them. Plus, I contracted most of them as a child, as did others, and we lived through them. More importantly, our immune systems gained lifelong immunities. That's how the immune system is exercised into becoming a well-functioning biological process, especially when healthful, natural nutrition, not GMO food, is provided. Here are some quotes from the CDC proposed rule. Quote, when an apprehension occurs, the individual is not free to leave or discontinue his or her discussion with any HHS, CDC, public health, or quarantine officer. The proposed practice to issue federal orders before a medical examination has taken place. The CDC defines pre-communicable stage to mean the stage beginning upon an individual's earliest opportunity for exposure to an infectious agent. And this apparent totalitarian gem of an agency self-proclaimed right, quote, holding that a passenger consents to an airport security search by presenting himself or herself for boarding, and that such consent may not be revoked by simply walking away. Thus, in order to protect interstate travel from communicable disease threats, HHS CDC intends for this section to apply broadly to all circumstances whether individuals may queue with other travelers, end quote. How about your being nabbed at a local Starbucks or McDonald's, baseball, basketball, football game, or supermarket? Folks, it's getting to be more than Orwell even could have imagined. What are you going to do? And here's what this is, in my opinion, it's all about. It's forced vaccinations. They have to be forcing these vaccinations for some other reason than immunity, since the toxins in vaccines damage the immune system. Quote, CDC may enter into an agreement with an individual upon such terms as the CDC considers to be reasonably necessary, indicating that the individual consents to any of the public health measures authorized under this part, including quarantine, isolation, conditional release, medical examination, hospitalization, vaccination, and treatment, provided that the individual's consent shall not be considered as a prerequisite to any exercise of any authority under this part. That's emphasized, end quote. So there you have it, folks. Their wet dream comes true. Taking away informed consent, one of the valid legal bugaboos regarding their illegal and unconstitutional enforcement of vaccinations to attend school or work. They, for all intents and purposes, are trashing the U.S. Constitution and Bill of Rights. And finally, for now, as this is really too much to absorb or take in, especially if you think you're a free citizen of the U.S., quote, individuals who violate the terms of agreement or the terms of a federal order of quarantine, isolation, or conditional release, even if no agreement is in place between the individual and the government, he or she may be subject to criminal penalties. So we will be called criminals, put in jail, obviously, thrown in. If you value your health, your life, your supposed freedom, and that of your children, family, and friends, don't think you ought to write your comments about the post-CDC Hitler, Stalin, Mao-like authoritarian rulemaking rules for the control of communicable diseases. Read it first. Don't take my words for granted, please. So I'll leave a link below for you for this and on the activist post.